their side of the story
So they
to
could
the
throw
judge.
this case out.
There is every likelihood that in a trial, that based on the evidence and the facts, the judges can find to guilty or not guilty. And that's what people must understand. This is a full trial. Jimmy, I also want to add a very important thing, and for me, this is the worry. You talk about 2012.
Yes.
And the politics of Kenya.
Exactly.
First of all,
is there a diversion?
Can we congratulate Citizen Media and you, Jimmy, and all the Kenyans who worked for the new constitution?
Yes.
Because I believe we have a brand new constitution that has really empowered the people of Kenya. You know, Jimmy, we need a country governed by laws, not by men. And what we have in this new constitution is very high thresholds of leadership. Not just do we have chapters of integrity in leadership, but we have ways of governing that you cannot govern as you wish.
I see.
As you saw with the nomination list
the
other day when judicial officers were being named. You just can't wake up in the morning and run the country as you wish. There shall be a very strong Senate, a strong parliament, strong institutional framework. And this will mean that whoever needs to be the next president, first of all, to be elected, you need 50+1. You need to obtain, at least in 50% of the counties, 25% of the vote. So if you have 14 million registered voters, you need 7 million votes.
Wow.
And if you don't do that, you go to a second round.
I see.
So this election cannot be determined by a community or the marriage of two communities. This is going to be an election about, in my view, essentially the young people who constitute 70% of this country's population. And Jimmy, you know very well, these young people of Kenya today are the star, the gem of this nation, because they do not know tribalism.
No.
They have no vendettas. They have no scores to settle. And I think, given all these crises around the ICC, about name-calling, about fingers pointing at each other, there might be a change in this country where people see this as an opportunity to transform.
I see what you mean.
You know,
hence my question, Tony. Then, I mean, is a lot of focus being put on the ICC process? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the process, just like you've explained, it has started, it's going on, no one can stop it. And now we're getting very close to 2012. We need to start thinking about who to put up there, as you've said. Or is ICC still part of that very important journey to put in credible leaders who will, like you said, lead by the book?
Well, the ICC is actually a two-edged sword. People have always accused the Deputy Prime Minister of being Jomo Kenyatta's son. And if you remember, yeah, I mean, that's what they say, that his claim to fame has been that he's Jomo Kenyatta's son. And of course, if you remember, the Penguria 6, Jomo Kenyatta, and of course, Uchenga Nyeko, Ponge, Fred Kubai, and then so on. And all of a sudden, that trial happened, and Jomo Kenyatta was thrust, you know, into national politics. Kenneth Matiba's detention, you know, thrust him into national politics. Now you're talking about Uhuru Kenyatta going to the Hague as a person to defend himself. And so on. So something will happen about this. His character, his name, his image will change. William Ruto's image and character will change through this process, and so forth. So the fact that you're going to the Hague, if you defeat the charges at the Hague, there are political ramifications of great magnitude. If you lose the process at the Hague, there are political ramifications of great magnitude. So the stakes are very high for the accusers as well as the accused. But what is important is how the country has gained. That everybody in Kenya knows you cannot kill with impunity. You cannot do this again and get away with it. And therefore, this will raise the standard. When a youth is given a stone or told go and kill another person in another election, I think people will think twice. But let's look realistically at what then this does to the people who have declared running. I like looking at presidential elections like a horse race. And how many horses are on the, there at the start. Of course, you've got the Prime Minister. You've got the Vice President. You've got the Deputy Prime Minister, who is part of the Ocampo 6. You've got the former Minister for Agriculture, who is also part of the Ocampo 6. You've got the Honorable Member from Saboti, Eugene Wamalwa, among Peter Kenneth and Martha Karua, and those people have declared. So the horses are, up there in the front, saying, on your marks, set, go. Now, the country is going to very soon have to start looking at content of character. And the reason is, it is no longer possible to put them into tribal groupings because the new constitution talks about a president and a running mate. So this whole idea of a Pentagon, that each chieftain, you know, of a group,
sets up, yes.
yeah, that you have some guy from Rift Valley, from Coast, and so on, from Central, and then you present them as possible presidential candidates, and then all of a sudden you have a captain of the ship.
Yes.
You know, that politics, I think, has passed. Now people will be looking and saying, what are you and that team going to do for the country? Because you cannot reward your friends in the cabinet. You have to draw your cabinet from Kenyans, from professionals.
I see.
Members of parliament will not sit in the cabinet.
True.
So why
you can't promise anything.
You need to loot 40, 50 million to go into parliament, to then steal more money to stay in parliament, to become a minister. Wow. Now, it will be of no value. You will just be a normal MP, earning a normal salary in very tough conditions, and not be a cabinet minister. So it all changes the nature of the politics.
But you said that like it's actually going to happen. I mean, people now are geared towards thinking in that direction.
Yes.
You've got people who, like you've said, from time immemorial, have wanted to maintain the status quo. You know, the people to be scared of, as you've said, the majority of young people who are looking for a new political dispensation. Will the people who want the status quo remain, just sit back and watch it happen, really?
Jimmy,
or will they continuously make us focus on something else?
Wonderful question. But Jimmy, you know, this country is too harsh on itself. We fought and defeated the British. We fought and defeated one-party rule.
Yes.
Where this country was a dictatorship.
Yes.
Kanuni Baba na Mama.
Yes.
We won that. In this country, we have a 2-term limitation for the president.
Yes.
He cannot run whoever you are for more than 2 terms. No. Okay? We have passed a new constitution that has brought in devolution of resources to the local level. We have changed the way in which we elect our president. We have changed and introduced independence in the judiciary, in the police force, through the new constitution. So if you look from 1963 up to now, this country has achieved remarkable achievements. It's very sad people died in 2007, unacceptable. But if you look at the scale, we lost about 2,000 Kenyans, sadly.
Yes.
But Rwanda, our neighbor, lost 1 million people. And Rwanda has been able to wake up from the ashes and go.
Forward, yes.
Germany and Japan were flattened in the Second World War, and they were able to wake up and become world economies. They are leaders of the world today. I want to think that this country has so much potential that it's not the size of the wave, but the motion of the ocean that moves the ship.
Well done.
And what we must do as Kenyans is, first of all, divorce ourselves from our ethnic background. Look at the competencies of Kenyans. Look at this young man who headed the Independent Electoral Commission, Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
Look at the election results on computer, on TV, 1 hour after voting.
That's true.
Look at Abdul Kadir and what he did, heading the select committee on the constitution, that was able to do what for 20 years other people have not been able to do. There are a lot of young people every day putting their best foot forward and changing this country. And I think the only way to go forward is for politics as we do it to be changed into a meritocracy as opposed to be patronage or politics of reward. I see that happening.